Hi, Colette. This is Alex from Yummy, and I just wanted to send you a review of your website, Hannah's Shoebox. So let's look at your site. The first thing I want to do is refresh so I can see the very first thing that comes at me as a visitor. It says, for young ladies, size 5 to 13. And then there are three pictures of a shoe. Now, this may seem painfully obvious that this site is about shoes. However, you have to understand the mindset of a person visiting your site for the first time is that they do not know what to expect in the majority of cases. So the best thing to give people a clear expectation of what the site is about is to say it with very summarized word, a very summarized statement. So I would recommend, instead of for young ladies, what are you talking about? For what? Are you talking about advice? Are you talking about apparel? No, what you're talking about is shoes or footwear, or better yet, you could say comfortable footwear or fashionable footwear for young ladies. That's another way to say it, to give it some kind of value and differentiation, and there's no confusion on what your site is about, right? So when you say for young ladies, you're definitely specifying your target, but you're not specifying your offer, what the value that you bring. Even though there are pictures, again, and even though your website is called Shoebox, you will be surprised at the difference it makes if you say it with text, if you say exactly what it's about. So that's the first thing I wanted to prompt you to consider. The second thing is about your branding. Now, your branding by no means looks bad, but the colors and the kind of the grunginess of the type and things like that does give it a kind of a mid-90s feel. I remember like Nickelodeon in the mid-90s. That's kind of what I think of when I see your logo. However, it's not really something that in all instances might connect with that audience of 8 to 13, I think you said 8 to 12, or to their parents, because their parents are looking to appeal to them as well. So I pulled up this graph and I want to put it up on the screen, the top 10 brands for millennials, right? And you can see Nike and Apple and Samsung and Sony and Walmart, et cetera, et cetera. You can see kind of a common thread throughout these corporate identities is that they are very, very simple. They're very minimalistic. They're very pared down, almost geometric in their quality. Even Pepsi a few years ago rebranded to something a lot more pared down and simplified. So when you look at that compared to what you have, you'll see that your logo is a lot more complex, and this target audience today will interpret that as out of their reach, out of something that's complex, something that's not accessible. So I know you've invested a lot in your branding and you have it all over the place, and that's fine. But when it comes to a point where you want to reconsider, relook at your branding, just keep these thoughts in mind. Okay. I like that you have free shipping on orders over $75. I would recommend having just a little bit more contrast in this yellow type, because it does feel like it could be lost when you're reading it from afar. That's definitely a differentiating statement that you want. It's a statement of value. You want to put it out there, right? The slider, then after that, you say school uniform. It's very matter-of-factly. Sassy sandals was probably one of the best ones, because it's kind of like an adjective with a noun. It's kind of what it is and what kind of its qualities are. But some of these other sliders, like school uniform, just feel a little bit dry. You might want to say just so in a different way so that it stands out a little bit more. One thing that caught my attention with your main navigation is that although your site on first glance is about shoes, the very first button on your navigation is bags and more. So I don't know if that was a data-driven decision on why you decided to lead your eye, given that your eye reads from left to right, why you decided to lead with something that is not shoe-related. If you had any data to back that up or any personal opinions, which I respect completely. Otherwise, it feels a little bit weird that I'm here to see shoes. The first thing I think about is what kind of shoes you have, which you definitely have in the all shoes section. yet your first button is bags and more, which seems a little bit unrelated or not directly related to shoes. So it might be a decision you might want to rethink if you don't have data to back that up, or test on your end. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to point out is that you have very large areas with these shoes and Lady in Red and these models, but they're not clickable. So if I'm looking at this, I'm immediately interpreting them as a catalog, as a product catalog. However, I can't easily go through to them. So if I say, wow, I really like this Lady in Red, let me read more about it, there's nothing to go directly to that. And that seems like a very simple thing that you can add that image, make it clickable, make it, link it directly to that product description page, and therefore have a more meaningful experience that leads users to go from something they're interested in to more information on how to acquire it if they so desire to do that. I like that you have these videos. I watched a few of them. They're pretty nice. Although there's no title for this video section. So here you see product, and then videos. You might want to have some kind of separation between those two so that users interpret that you're talking about something completely different. Videos, interesting videos, something like that. Then you do have featured products, which is what I expected these to be, but I don't understand now the difference between these, here you do say it's a featured product, but down here you have also featured products. So it seems either redundant or maybe they're referring to two different things. So you might want to clarify that to your users, what the relevance is of each one. In this section, I might want to recommend you place these products in a grid so that it doesn't seem like stair-steppy like this. It seems like it's misaligned and therefore not so much of a pleasant visual experience, although the shoe models are beautiful. I might want to also recommend placing your titles on this. Whoops, I clicked on it. Your titles a little bit larger because they seem like the exact same size of your description, and therefore they don't stand out too much. Let's see if we could do a quick exercise to make these titles larger if they're in their own style. So let's see if we do this. Something like that. So you can see immediately the difference that makes. The titles stand out a little bit more. You go straight to it, and then if you decide to read more, you can read the description. So that might be helpful for you. Down here you say stay up to date, sign up for the newsletter. Now it's not really a compelling pitch on why you want people to sign up. So what do I get when signing up? What does the newsletter consist of? Does it consist of your seasonal offers? Does it consist of coupons? Does it consist of 10 ideas for style, 10 style ideas every month for this age range? So what are you promising? You're not saying really anything here. And if this is not important, highly important for you, I would recommend just removing it from the website. But if it is important in any way, then pitch something a lot more objective. These days, a newsletter is no longer a high value anymore. People don't really look forward to having 10 more newsletters in their email. However, if you pitch it in such a way where you say, here's the content you're going to get by signing up, we're going to release our newest styles to you first before everyone else reaches them. That's more of a solid pitch. So think about what your pitch is going to be. Obviously, you want to be consistent with what you actually intend to do with that, but give something of value and then pitch it in your front page. I'm finishing up with my review. A few other things that I wanted to point out were about us. Now, I read your about us, and you start out really cool. You start out actually in an unexpected way. You start out with a story. You say, we're so excited to have you visit our online store. Allow us to introduce ourselves. So I would just recommend that you include a paragraph break right under allow us to introduce yourselves, just because it's a different idea. You're about to kind of talk about your story. And again, I liked the way you did it. You did it in a very story-driven, personal way. Hannah's Shoebox was created, a mother became frustrated with her challenge, and I'm assuming this is talking about you. So then you say that's when and why Hannah's Shoebox was born. Now at that point, I expected you to say something like, we love helping our customers, which are young ladies, connect with their sense of style early in their age because it has to do with their self-confidence. I was expecting you to talk a little bit more about the authentic reasons why Hannah's Shoebox exists. However, I came upon a mission statement, which just seems very corporate and very dry, and just kind of broke the experience of listening to your story, right? So it just became mission statement, then Hannah Shoebox is especially da da da, very matter of factly, and I would prompt you to continue that story style for the about, and I think it's going to connect in a much deeper, meaningful manner with your audience rather than mission statement, which from my opinion you don't need on this. This is completely oriented towards your visitor, your future customer. It's not a business plan, it's not your corporate statement. None of that really matters for your front page website. Then you say follow us on our social media platform. In these days, you do want to include icons for them so that if I see the Instagram icon, I'm like, well, I'm an Instagram user, I want to follow you on Instagram immediately. When you see links like this, it's not necessarily very engaging, and it's at a glance. For example, Pinterest sort of gets lost within this stack here, so it doesn't stand out to me, right? You want to have very graphical icons. Then the last thing I'm going to point out in this video is the testimonial section, which is empty. So my thing here is, I understand, you might be just starting out, you might not have that level of testimonials that you aspire to have. However, having an empty testimonials section on your website and even more on the main navigation of your website is a no-no, because what it seems like is, oh, they have testimonials. Let me see what testimonials they have. And when I navigate here, you have nothing. And having an empty page is actually a detractor from future customers rather than an attractor. So it's doing a disservice for you having this empty. So I would recommend removing the testimonials page completely from your website until you have these testimonials, right? This is what I would recommend you have. So this does it for my top line review of your website. If you have any questions or any additional comments, feel free to reach out to me. Although I pointed out many critical things, I didn't mean for this review to say that it's bad by any means. I think it's very nice, and I think it does connect with your audience. I think these tips, if you take them at heart, it might improve your visibility and your attraction when you're talking to your target audience. So hope this helps. Feel free to reach out to me if I can help you out in any way. Bye-bye. Take care.